The sun explodes with billion-ton proton blasts of gas. Plasma, actually. Plasma is energy in gaseous form. Actually, it happens quite frequently, but usually those blasts go out into space and have nothing to do with us. Every now and then, though, blasts that issue from the northwest quadrant of the sun's face, from sunspots, which are storms on the sun, explode and travel the 93 million miles and hit the Earth. Our magnetic field is designed to protect us from these blasts, and usually it does. The most significant net result is the aurora, which are beautiful, so nobody complains about the aurora. But rarely, it seems like once or twice a century, a mammoth blast comes in and really does some spectacular things. The largest such blast that we know of was in 1859, called the Carrington event. The Carrington event was actually two blasts, August 28th, 1859. The next one is September 1st. Kaboom, kaboom. It came in and it lit the sky up at midnight. It suffused electricity into the telegraph wires, even burned down a few telegraph stations. But aside from the scientific curiosity about it, it had very little impact on society. That would not be so today. If a blast of the size of the 1859 Carrington event, or a blast that were almost as large that followed in 1909 and 1921, were to hit us today and crash through our magnetic field, well, it would knock out the electrical power grid such that up to 130 million Americans would be without electricity for months or years. That's not just according to me. That's according to the National Academy of Sciences landmark report called Severe Space Weather Events. That report was also co-sponsored and co-researched by NASA. National Academy of Sciences is no fringe group. It was founded by Abraham Lincoln during the height of the Civil War, and today it's probably the most prestigious scientific membership organization in the world. According to the National Academy of Sciences, if we were to be hit by one that happened in 1859 or another 1909 or 1921, we could be in big trouble, trouble the likes of which we've never seen. Our society is held together by a power grid today. Electricity is the cornerstone technology of the society. There's nothing that we depend on more except maybe air, water, and food. And we've come to rely on electricity for so much more. It's not just no telecom. It's in many cases little or no water or gasoline because the pumps are electric. Little or no refrigeration, banking, law enforcement, military security. Pretty much everything we rely on to function. And the question is, okay, well, why don't we just fix it? That's what utility crews are for, right? Isn't that what repair guys and repair people are for? It would be nice, but unfortunately that doesn't work. If a coronal mass ejection hits the Earth and hits a transformer, it doesn't just sort of wonk it out. It fuses the copper windings inside so that the transformer has to be replaced. Now these babies, the biggest ones, weigh over 100 tons. There's a 3-year waiting list on the world market for these things, and none of them is made in the United States anymore. On Halloween 2003, the Halloween storm hit. Didn't do much to the North Pole, but South Africa got 14 major transformers knocked out, and their electrical infrastructure was crippled for years. We think, well, South Africa, they're always having problems. We tend to be dismissive, perhaps, and find no relevance in their situation. But, you know, transformer's a transformer. It's not because it's African or American, it's a transformer. And they had a devil of a time. In June 2010, the United States House of Representatives voted unanimously unanimously, these guys, to take the steps to protect the power grid. I mean, they won't cross the aisle to perform the Heimlich maneuver, and yet the U.S. House of Representatives did so and passed a bill, which, and I have to control my anger at this, which died in the Senate unaddressed. Ostensibly, the question was, they couldn't decide in the Senate which subcommittee had jurisdiction over the power grid. Bunch of bullshit. It's not the lack of money, it's not the lack of technology that's keeping this from happening, and now it's not even the lack of legal authority. But it's the way the grid came to be. The grid was not created in one fell swoop like the federal highway system. It grew up and it's a patchwork of public and private authorities, commissions, utilities, with differing jurisdictions, overlapping state and regulatory agencies. It's a mess legally. I used to be chairman of an advanced plasma physics research company in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And one day in late 2004, the principal scientist, Roger Remy, came to me and said, "The sun is making mayonnaise." Oh, shut up, Roger. Roger was an annoying guy. So mostly just to shut him up, I went on the European Space Agency and NASA websites and saw that the sun had been behaving more tumultuously. And the only thing that the astronomers could seem to agree upon was that the next climax of this activity would be in 2012. So on impulse, I Googled 2012 and fell down this rabbit hole of New Age, very colorful stuff, Mayan astronomy, very interesting, not the kind of stuff that normally moves me to action, but it was, when you looked at the ancient Mayan astronomy, you saw it was a work of genius. I mean, without so much as a lens, much as a computer or a spacecraft, they did great jobs in predicting eclipses and even the movement of the planets and even the movement of the solar system around the galaxy. To me, it was just the coincidence of contemporary astronomers pointing to 2012 as the next climax of solar activity, and ancient Mayan astronomers saying that 2012 would be a watershed year, and it was that coincidence that got me interested in this research. What you need to do is stick a surge suppressor in between the ground and the transformer. Not really nuclear science. Scientists are not perfect. They intimidate a lot of journalists, a lot of politicians, not necessarily out of any malignant intent, but just because people don't know it. People are afraid to look stupid. And sometimes, you know, they need, what they're saying does not hold. I was attacked after I wrote the New York Times op-ed piece by, oh, he has such a nice name, the head of the Hayden Planetarium, famous scientist deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Thank you, Neil deGrasse Tyson, thank you. Viciously attacked, and in a letter that he wrote to the Times.
As an educator, it's my duty to empower you to think so that you can go forth and think accurate thoughts about how the world is put together, inoculating you against the charlatans out there who will exploit your ignorance on anything they possibly can.
Well, guess what? Congress and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission looked into the matter far more deeply, and they agree with me. Is he a superior scientist to me? Absolutely. I'm not a scientist. Was I right on this issue? Yes, I am. I'm 58 years old, and I have an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old. I'm firmly convinced that if not within my lifespan, within theirs, the power grid will be knocked out by solar electromagnetic pulse, a solar blast, if nothing is done to protect it. I don't want my little daughter and little son to have to go through that, because I think it could well result in anarchy and horror. It means a lot to me that they be saved.